Well, I just bring up, we do have, I think Ann Noonan's here. Is she here? Yeah. Asked to address the board. Now, we've never done that before. I don't know if the board has made a decision to do that or not, but we have all seen the email. We have the time to hear from her for a couple of minutes if we want to, but I think it's something we ought to consider. I'm happy to hear from him. It's 3 minutes. So you're here?
On the understanding issue with creating precedents, but on the understanding that it doesn't create a precedent, I think
I don't
we can discuss a policy for public participation going forward from here.
Okay.
I know what she wants to talk about, but I mean, I know she asked.
For 3 minutes, then. Thank you.
I do know she came on the Acela from New York City to be here.
Thank you. My name's Ann Noonan, and I'm the Executive Director for the Committee for U.S. International Broadcasting. I didn't come on the Acela, I came on the $49 train ride. Thank you for welcoming me to attend this meeting. I'm delighted that the public is now able to attend the BBG's open meeting. Thank you also for permitting me to speak as hopefully part of what may be the first of many public comments at BBG open meetings. As you know, public comments are a valuable part of our democracy, and I'm hopeful that you will encourage future participation of organizations and individuals to be part of the process. As you know, the Committee for U.S. International Broadcasting is a nonpartisan, non-governmental organization that supports journalism for media freedom and human rights. The first item I'd like to mention is September's mass firing of Radio Liberty, Radio Svoboda journalists, web editors, and other staffers. We remain aggrieved that it has taken the BBG so long to remedy this outrage against U.S. public diplomacy and human decency. I'd like to point out that RFE-RL management fired Bella Kaloeva and Alexei Kunetsov, two fully qualified and fully capable employees with disabilities, and replaced them with less qualified and less experienced non-disabled new employees. I'd also like to point out that the firing of Radio Liberty Russian Services experienced and highly respected journalists and the decision to de-emphasize news and news analysis and replace it on the Radio Liberty Russian homepage with soft features has produced a more than 50% decline in site visitors in just 2 months. The chairwoman of the Moscow-Helsinki group, Lyudmila Alexieva, said that neither Putin nor the former KGB were able to damage Radio Liberty more than Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty President and CEO Steven Korn. Freedom House has sharply criticized RFE-RL President and CEO Steven Korn for his actions at Radio Liberty in Russia. Freedom House's president said that Mr. Korn has done Radio Liberty what Putin could never have done. One additional item I'd like to make a matter of record today is about the firing of 4 Radio Liberty Kazakh service journalists last June and the production by RFE-RL of offensive, sexually suggestive videos for this largely Muslim nation. Especially disturbing was the non-renewal of the contract for Nazira Darimbet, a young Kazakh Radio Liberty woman journalist who objected to these videos being posted and questioned RFE-RL President Steven Korn about the firing of Radio Liberty journalists in Moscow. CUSIB joins the growing number of political officials and human rights leaders in their many appeals to the Broadcasting Board of Governors to restore all of the fired Radio Liberty journalists to their rightful posts. All of these journalists must be returned to their jobs and management, and personnel practices at RFE-RL investigated by the BBG to allow freedom of expression and prevent programming mistakes. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. The next board meeting will be held at BBG headquarters here in Washington on February 21st, 22nd, 2013. Governor Linton and I work closely with other governors and Director Lobo to develop the agenda for each meeting. Governors should give us input regarding any topics that they would like to see addressed at the next meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chairman, obviously, we're below a quorum, so the only thing we can do is adjourn. But we can hear comments, which we've heard. And I do think Mrs. Weil might make a proposal to us on how we ought to handle future public comments. I'm all for doing it. Comments we agree or disagree with, but to hear them and to have a public comment period.
Well, the governance committee will consider that.
Right, and maybe Mrs. Weil will make recommendations to the governance committee. And I assume our February meeting will be here in D.C., although it conceivably could be at another location yet to be determined. I don't want to cut anyone off, but I'm certainly prepared to make a motion to adjourn if unless some other governor.
Before we second, I just I think that my time on the board here, we've worked to have the board act in a more transparent process. I don't believe we had webcasting prior to the July 10, and as we continue to evolve, to take input of people across the board. But I would not want to leave the impression that this board is not concerned about the way that all the companies are in conduct, or we just spent 2 solid days here covering a wide range of issues, including some of the issues that that Ann just raised in her remarks. So I just don't want to leave it unsaid that the board has spent a lot of time on these matters, and we are a mission-driven, journalistic-driven, taxpayer operation, and every member of this board is very sensitive to those responsibilities, even in our part-time status. So I do hope we can figure out a way to plug in more opportunities for the public to have comments. I know that this board tries to have town hall meetings with staffs. I know we've had them when we've gone to RFERL, and we've tried to create more open dialogue because, you know, I've lived in Washington for 28 years, and not all the best answers are in Washington, D.C., and I know that every day. And I think that this board does strive to have that openness and transparency, and I know that the governance committee will take a look at this and bring options back to the board to have this be a more orderly process.
So the governance committee should get together, and then at the next board meeting, we'll recommend a policy for public participation.
Okay.
And I think, Mr. Chairman, it's important to note that Governor Linton, when he was here, did point out that Jeff Trimble is going to lead a review of the issues that have come up with RFERL. That isn't to point fingers at anyone. It's just a fact that we'll do a review and come, and I'm sure Mr. Trimble will come up with recommendations as to what we should do, what we shouldn't do as a result of some of those issues. He has tremendous background in this area because he has great experience, and I can't think of a more knowledgeable person to look at this matter and then come back to us.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor? I guess we don't have a quorum, so it really doesn't matter. Okay.
Well, we can make a motion to that. I move we adjourn to the February.
We're adjourned until February. Thank you. Happy holidays to everyone. Thank you very much.